Hello folks, Phil Gallagher of ThrabenU here for another Legacy video. Today we're going to be playing with Michael B's Legacy Birthing Pod deck list. So let's take a look at Birthing Pod in case you didn't play Modern back in the day. And it's definitely the day now. It's been many moons since this card has been legal in Modern. Alright, so it's 1 and a Phyrexian green to activate. Sacrifice a creature, search your library for a creature card with mana value equal to 1 plus the sacrifice creature's mana value and put it onto the battlefield. So the idea here is that you slowly chain your small creatures into larger creatures, generating value over time. While many Birthing Pod lists seek to win with an infinite combo, such as Restoration Angel and Kiki Jiki, this list is just playing the Birthing Pods as value cards. They will do things like allow you to sacrifice your Veteran Explorer, getting 2 lands in the process, turning it into a Voice of Resurgence, sacrifice your Voice of Resurgence, getting a token in the process, and then turning it into some relevant 3-drop, and so forth. So the idea is ultimately we will go up to like Grave Titan-sized bodies, which are pretty hard to answer. And as you get to things with CMC 4 or greater, it becomes hard to answer them with cards like Prismatic Ending, making these things a little safer than they otherwise might normally be in Legacy. As far as the sideboard goes, we have a handful of other nice utility hate bears that can be fetched with a Birthing Pod, and more copies of Plague Engineer because that card is dope. Essentially these mid-rangey Birthing Pod style decks often beat up on like fair, slow, mid-rangey or control decks because you can generate so much value, but I am definitely worried about our ability to beat combo decks, especially in Game 1. In Game 1, we have Cabal Therapy, which works very nicely with Veteran Explorer because you get to flash back the therapy and then get your 2 lands out of it. But otherwise, we have like a Gaddock Teague, and like an Endurance. So we're definitely going to be soft to combo in Game 1. Hence why we have a bunch of like Thoughtseizes in the sideboard here. I don't think I have too much else to say. Just showing you a handful of these singleton targets that you might not be familiar with. Wall of Blossoms just draws a card when it enters. Bone Shredder is a cube favorite. It destroys a target non-artifact, non-black creature when it enters. And then there's this Nic Fit staple, Meren of Clan Neltoth. When a creature dies, you get an experience counter. At the end of your end step, you choose a creature card in your graveyard. You can either put it into your hand, or you can put it directly onto the battlefield if its CMC is less than or equal to the number of experience counters you have. Okay, I guess like there's also Karmic Guide. When it ETBs, you can return a creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. I guess that one's important too. I think that's all I have to say here. Let's see if what we're doing ends up being good enough for Legacy these days. If you're new here, please consider subscribing to support my content. And if you're a regular, please throw me a like or a comment. Those are things that support my content for free. All right, let's battle. Okay, this opening hand has no game plan, no cohesion whatsoever. I'm going to go ahead and mulligan this. This has a real game plan. I'm going to keep this. Seems like I can pretty safely just throw back 1 land here. I'll go ahead and do so. I think I'm supposed to play Ignoble Hierarch on turn 1 rather than play Veteran Explorer, because this ramps me into a turn 2 Birthing Pod if I'm willing to pay some life, which I probably am going to be willing to do. If my opponent like leads on Volcanic Island, then like Daze comes into the picture and things get a little more complicated. Okay, Forest probably means Elves, in which... Oh, fuck. Oh, no. Oh, man. Yeah, that's bad. That's real bad. Okay. Okay. Alright, I do have a Savannah. I believe it is correct to destroy my land here. Okay, hold on. So I have to click this first. In order to put this into play. I'll get a Birthing Pod. And my opponent gets to return their Spreading Algae. So this is what's referred to as sushi loam. Because the algae sushi, kind of looks like a little wrap on your sushi. My opponent is going to fuck me. Ah! My opponent at some point is going to play an Urborg Tomb of Yawgmoth and just utterly obliterate me. Nice swamp you have, Phil. Sure would be a shame if something happened to it. Alright. So, Veteran Explorer, activate Birthing Pod, sacrifice Veteran Explorer. Yes, I will use this ability. I will pick up, not swamps. I'll pick up Forest Plains. I'm not even mad. I'm so happy for my opponent right now. Okay, so my opponent has 2 total basics in their deck. Since I'm just gonna pod whenever I get away next turn, I'm just gonna get the Voice of Resurgence and get that token active. What a start to my Monday morning here. Just wake up, play a swamp, and opponent is like, game 1, spreading algae. This is peak legacy right here. Birthing Pod versus spreading algae loam. Yep, I mean, I expected that. Man, I can't even, just destroy the spreading algae with my Birthing Pod and then, get rid of it forever. It just comes back. Okay, so first things first, before I think about anything else here, I need to take this attack. Let's yield to that. I'll deal my opponent with 3 damage. And I think one way or another I'm activating this Birthing Pod with life. Let's sacrifice the Voice of Resurgence. Gets me a nice token. I think Knight of Autumn is better than Grist, but it's close. So let's destroy the Urza Saga here. And now, do I want another Veteran Explorer to start working my way up the chain again? Or do I just want to get, another Voice of Resurgence that I can immediately turn into Grist? No, I think I'm going to go up on the pod to 4. I don't really want to blow up my land yet, though. Let's leave this in play. Could get a Noble Hierarch, but I'm just going to get a Veteran Explorer. This leaves me a little more open to, deviating from my plan. Hoo-hoo-hoo! Hello? Yes. Speaking of deviating from the plan, let's do that. Alright. Goodbye, land. This is a lot of power. I didn't even count this. Alright, opponent's at 4, which probably means that I can just go wide of a Merit Lodge token. Okay, we got game 1 versus spreading algae. So, what's my plan here? I probably want all the copies of Endurance, because I'm going to assume that my opponent has Life from the Loam in that deck. I probably want some number of these cards, and maybe this. I think I need to start by removing stuff. Wall of Blossoms doesn't attack. I'm going to get rid of that. Bone Shredder or Plague Engineer is worse. Let's get rid of that. I see myself fetching things other than Felidar Guardian in this matchup. This gets me those. Kataki would tax my Birthing Pod, but also would tax any Moxen my opponent has and their Urza Saga Construct tokens. I'm not sure that that's better than just outright blowing them up. The issue with Pernicious Deed is that I have a lot of things that are going to be sitting on the board. I'm not sure if I can board this in this matchup where it isn't just going to be lights out. I'm really bad at pitch casting Solitude, huh? So I probably shouldn't bring in another one of those. Be looking at some number of Swords to Plowshares instead. This leaves me with 2 5s. I think that's okay. Do I want this last Swords to Plowshares over one of my creatures? Is Swords to Plowshares better than Prismatic Ending? I didn't see a lot of permanents for my opponent, but this can answer the sushi. Let's start with boarding in 2 swords and see how that feels. Okay, I don't think this is a keep. This hand doesn't do anything exciting initially, but I think this is fine on 6. Pause back. Either Bayou or Scrubland. I think it's Scrubland. I care about the green pips for endurance. What do you have for me? Okay, no turn one play one, but good. Happy with start. Play Veteran Explorer. Erg. Alright, so I just have a curve of creatures that I'm going to play. Like, it's Veteran into Voice into Endurance. JK. I'm gonna get ported instead. So my opponent will fetch. Yep. So this is gonna significantly slow me down. Yep. I was really hoping to draw like a hierarch there. I'll just play a fetch land. Crash in for 1. I hope I don't have to like randomly play around something like Opposition Agent as well. Okay. That's some respectable value. So I'll get ported again. I'm not going to fetch until my draw step just in case something changes. Okay, we found the top end. So I'll crash in with Veteran Explorer, and then I'll play Voice of Resurgence post-combat. I can avoid doing this off of swamps. That's probably cool. I just get basics here. I need to work towards having black for Grave Titan long term, though. I'm just gonna go ahead and fetch the non-basics, leave the basics in the deck to fetch with Veteran Explorers. Oop, I need to pay for that the other way. I think my opponent's in a better position than I am currently. I think that changes absolutely instantly if I draw a way to sacrifice my Veteran Explorer. So like a Birthing Pod or a Cabal Therapy is just very, very good right now. Alright, so my mana might get freed up this turn because I think for my opponent, creating a construct is better than porting me. Oh, we got a Pithing Needle and Birthing Pod to worry about. I guess I have Prismatic Ending for that. Cool. I will make my land drop. I'll go to combat. I'll crash in with these. Alright, my opponent is unsurprisingly just taking the damage here. And then both of the other things that I want to do can just be done at instant speed. So here's the construct. I am going to Swords of Plowshares this no matter what. I'm just going to give my opponent 1 life for it instead of 2 or more. So then end of turn, like once this Urza Saga is in the graveyard, I will play my Endurance and eat those 2 lands. Oh, it's just a Mox Diamond. Okay, cool. Okay. So this could be a pretty clutch Endurance to just stop all these Urza Sagas from immediately coming back. Yep. Good job, Endurance. Like, the ideal world is hitting this life from the loam, but I just think I need to stop that Urza Saga from coming back in the short term here. Okay. I can potentially get comboed in the not-too-distant future. Ooh, buddy. It doesn't quite get me to Grave Titan this turn, does it? Because I sacrifice Veteran Explorer, then that puts me up to 5 mana. That's fine. It gets me there next turn. So I think I'm just going to Prismatic Ending that creature out of the way. Crash in for 6. My opponent goes to 8. I have no idea what I'm supposed to name with Cabal Therapy. I guess like a Crop Rotation is a decent name. There's so many things that my opponent... Force of Vigor and Abrupt Decay. So I'll flash back and name Abrupt Decay. Sacrifice the Explorer. Yes, I'll use this ability. So I have a Grave Titan to hardcast here. I'm going to get double Swamp. As weird as that is in this matchup. Okay. Abrupt Decay. So that leaves my opponent with double Rishadan Port. So I have my opponent on a 2-turn clock. Field of the Dead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This will be 6 if they play that. Okay, there's the loam for it. Okay. It looks like my opponent is only going to port me... Oh. Yeah. 2, 4, 6. Yep, okay. I can just cast this post-combat. I don't think there's anything that punishes me, because even if my opponent ports me, I still just have the land drop to play the 6-drop. Alright, so they go to 3. Then I go land into a big boy. Alright, very nice. So my opponent needs some, like, Glacial Chasm level card to get through this situation here. And they get a couple looks at it. Okay, that's not going to do it. They Field of the Dead to get a zombie token, and then they should be dead. Okay, and we get the concession there. Alright. Birthing Pod defeats Sushi Loam. Great video already. Okay, we're probably playing against Death and Taxes here. I'm going to go ahead and mulligan this hand. I just don't have enough mana. This hand's not great. I'm going to keep it. I'm not super stoked about it, though. Like, I have 2 expensive cards in my hand versus a mana denial deck. Yeah, sure. Alright, that's a spooky start here. Yeah, so, that makes this hand quite good. I don't think I'm supposed to fetch Basic Forest to play around Wasteland here, because I need a white source quite badly. I'm going to need 2 white sources at some point in this game if I'm going to take advantage of Karmic Guide. Yep. I mean, I knew that was something that could happen, but they Levite. So this is probably green-white. Savannah. Into Voice. I expect my deck is going to line up poorly versus Death and Taxes. Like, they have a comparable end game value engine to me, and they also just have the ability to use the mana that I give them anytime I sacrifice a creature. So I have no play this turn. Sure. Like, this would give me a token on the backside if my opponent trades. I'm good with that. It makes a Flicker Wisp a little better on their end, but I don't think I want to take the damage right now. I'm stone cold dead to that Cauldron here. I don't have any plays currently, and if I stumble for even a single turn here, I think it's insurmountable. Yeah. All right. So I eat 5 damage. Go to 14. I would love to ending that Vial, but I think I have to hope to Skyclave that Vial later and just take out this Germ token. So I cannot overstate enough how bad a Flicker Wisp is for me. Like, it was already really bad, but now it's just worse. Okay, they don't have it. Nice. All right, the Vial goes up to 4, meaning that they're working towards Yorion. Sure. Okay, that's fine. Really, really need to land this turn to stop Yorion from happening. Okay. Am I attacking? I don't think I'm attacking. I'm going to hold this back. It, in theory, stops the Thalia from attacking. The issue is that my opponent has a removal spell. It's just so absolutely insane. Yep. Did I force them to use the Swords to Plowshares? No. I'll just eat that. Yeah, that's the Yorion to hand. Now my opponent gets to blink this stuff. Like, I just needed this this land sooner to take out this Vial to stop this from happening, and I think I've got this game more or less stabilized. But now, like, I play Skyclave, I target something, it gets blinked by Yorion. My opponent's got a giant creature in the air. I think I'm comfortable just throwing in the towel here. I don't think I'm winning this one. I want Deed. I'll probably play Oof, even though it can be awkward with my Birthing Pods. I'll probably play Big Butt Creatures. Solitude's okay. Swords of Plowshare is okay. So I do not want Teague. All Blossoms is kind of whatever. My cards are okay, just not exciting. And bad against some sideboard cards that my opponent might have. I think I'm going to take out Bone Shredder. I think the Echo a little rough here. I think I'm going to pull Questing Beast for being a legendary creature. This gets me Plague Engineer, probably a Solitude, and a Deed. I think similarly, I'm just going to like pull the other card with Echo. Gonna get another Endurance in there for that. Go ahead and junk the Wall of Blossoms for Collector Oof, and then I think call that good. This hand is slow, but fine. I don't love it, but improved by a decent amount of draws, and I can play basics for the first 3 turns if I want. The issue with keeping any hand that's like this, though, is that, like, if my opponent just goes, like, turn 2 Stoneforge, I feel just so incredibly far behind. Need to play a fetch land here in respect of drawing something like Grist that I need to just play next turn. And, well, okay, Grist is a bad example. Alright, so this is going to be sort of a glacially paced game. That's fine. I'm not sure who that... Oh. Okay. Am I about to eat, like, a Containment Priest or something? I would be okay with getting the land and then just, like... I don't know. Okay, just play a Birthing Pod? How many basics do I have total? 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 5 total basics. Still leaves 2 in the deck. Alright. Let's fetch. It could just be like Cathar Commando. In which... That's flash, right? In which case, playing out this Birthing Pod is super awkward. I think it still lines up okay for me to do it, though. Like, if my opponent is using some of their mana on their turn to answer this, it is a Containment Priest. So I'll have to find... fuck. Alright, I think I'm probably just done here. That helps, but it's still quite bad for me. I have some huge problems here. I'll junk that Containment Priest, but then I can't immediately do anything else here because my colors don't work out. So I'm already at 11. I just I don't feel like what I'm doing here lines up well versus Death and Taxes. Yeah. Cauldron just an absolute menace here. Yeah, and that's the color I needed. Do I have anything at 3 or 4 mana? Yeah, I can Skyclave. Alright. So green and white, play voice. Activate this, sacrifice voice. Use this. Pick up a Skyclave. Skyclave answer the Stoneforge. I am still just in, like, threatened range because of this Flicker Wisp, though. I'm at 11 now. Like, it's going to be 8. Yep. A bunch of my stuff at CMC 4 is not actually great here. 5. Yuck. So now my Birthing Pod is significantly less good. 3/4 is nice. Get 2 of them. I can also just, like, not activate the Birthing Pod this turn. If I had 1 more green mana, I think that line is reasonable. I think instead I'm going to go Voice, activate Birthing Pod, sacrifice Voice. Ooh, I could just pick up a Plague Engineer and outright kill Flicker Wisp. Yeah, that might just be safer. Name Elemental there. Hold these back. So, like, this also turns Solitude into a 2/1. Oh my god, why? Rough. So, I mean, if their last card is Swords to Plowshares, this is a pretty sick blowout, but I'm otherwise okay with just trading these bodies. Yep. Okay. I think I'm just going to go ahead and play Meren here. This is a legendary creature, so we're just going to immediately pod this away. It cost me 2 life to do this. Sacrifice this. And then, like, just not give my opponent a priority point where they get to pick that up. I'll pick up a Solitude, and I'll junk your creature. And then next turn, this gets me a Grave Titan. So I just have to hope that my opponent doesn't do that. Yep. I was trying to dodge for a turn to avoid that happening. Yep. Okay. Something at CMC 4 that answers this. Not is Felidar Guardian in my sideboard right now? It is not. Okay. Alright. So I attack for 3 with Solitude. Get ever so slightly more stable. I guess I should cast this Cabal Therapy right now. No, I'll save it for the Yorion. Alright. Cast Endurance. I'm not gonna do this to either graveyard here. Activate Birthing Pod. Sacrifice Endurance. Get Felidar Guardian. Felidar Guardian blinks Solitude. Yes. Solitude comes back. I junk the Germ. My primary issue here is that, like, my opponent could just play a creature and then Cauldron Equip. And I just have, like, real problems to worry about. Yeah. Okay. Oh, Yorion and Cauldron are both in hand. Or, sorry, Yorion is in hand. Oh, man. Why is this so hard? So I think I'm potting into a Solitude here. So I sacrifice this. I grab Solitude. I Solitude away the Germ token. And now I'm 1 mana short of doing everything that I need to do. But I think I just have to take out that Yorion. This does just mean my opponent can Flicker Wisp equip. Do I care about the Spirit of the Labyrinth? Getting a Grave Titan is probably more important. Alright. Yeah. My opponent is at 31, by the way. Just disgusting. Alright. I'll crash on in. That puts me to 6. Don't have any answers at CMC4. I've used this. Doesn't do anything. Meren doesn't do anything. What about Siege Rhino? The Calder is so hard to deal with for this deck. Trample here is rough. Alright. So let's grab Grave Titan. And I know my opponent has a Spirit of the Labyrinth in hand, so let's turn that into a blank. Yeah, if I had 1 more mana, I could have, like, stopped Flicker Wisp from... Oh, right, the flying. The flying means that I was just dead unless I picked Siege Rhino. I got so caught up in, like, my life total math that I just, totally flubbed that. I don't think I'm just getting out, though. Now, that would have been a good draw. Or no, it's indestructible, right? Yeah, so that would not have been a good draw. Yeah, I would have been dead the next turn anyway. GG's. Okay, I've kept my opening hand here, and the big question is, like, is this Green Sun going to become a Dryad Arbor? Or do I want to try and set up turning it into a Veteran Explorer? I think since I have double Voice of Resurgence, I'm just going to take the Dryad Arbor here and see how this plays out. If I had black mana for Cabal Therapy, like, it would probably be different. Okay, so we're playing against some sort of Stompy deck. That's fine as of right now. So I'm now very glad that I got that Dryad Arbor. Voice of Resurgence is going to be pretty good against non-Chandra cards. Oh, it probably has to plus on their Trinisphere here. Nope, okay, they're just willing to let their Karn die immediately. Getting a Walking Ballista. Sure. Yep, alright. My turn is killing Karn. Missing this land drop here is rough. My opponent gets to play a Walking Ballista for X equals 2, use one of the counters to kill Dryad Arbor, and then I potentially get stuck without being able to play spells unless I rip a land. But I am a skilled magician. Alright. Play out some voices, just make killing my creatures slightly more awkward for my opponent. They'll get a 15. I have a really good engine going with Meren, once I hit 1 more land drop. Ugh. Yep. Alright. I think I have to put more power in play to just make it harder for my opponent to just win via a Mycosynth Lattice immediately. Because that's just absolutely on the horizon here. Okay, that's a Lattice. Yes. I will attack and kill your Karn. Attack all creatures. Attack Karn. What was the plan? Okay. So I now have, like, perfect mana. Ball Therapy. Right. The Trinisphere is still involved. I'm still gonna do this. I'm gonna name Karn. Yep. My opponent has a Fiery Confluence left, which is not actually all that good on this board. Yeah, I mean, that line was so bad that it... let it rip. that it really only made sense if they had another Karn as a follow-up. Sure. Or do I just, like, Skyclave this? Makes that Fiery Confluence in their hand better if I do that. Let's see if I can just get more value out of forcing a chump block here. See how that goes. That's fine. No, I think I should have Skyclaved the Walking Ballista pre-combat and then just 100% killed that Chandra. But I think I'm okay with this line too. I'm just setting up this Fiery Confluence that my opponent is going to try to use to sweep the board as being something that, like, actively makes life awful for them. Yep. Like, I am fine with the board being swept here, because I end up with creatures and enough mana to, like, play something like a Questing Beast. Yes, I'll use this ability. All of these tap for all colors, so it doesn't really matter what I do. Everything went so wrong for me. Yeah. Absolutely it did. Okay. Oh, so Chromox doesn't actually tap for a color, right? Yeah, so Chromox doesn't actually tap for a color right now. Questing Beast? I just play Big Daddy Grave Titan here, honestly. Okay, so there's a Grave Titan. One of these goes at Chandra. One of these goes at you. And then you're dead next turn. And I have an answer for an Ensnaring Bridge. Sure. That is not gonna do it, and I'm still at 10 life, so I can't just die to a Fiery Confluence here. Okay, I have a reasonable set of cards that I can bring in. These are good against goblins. These are good against non-planeswalker permanents that my opponent plays. Oof is okay. Endurances are okay, just as 3/4s that block goblins. Swords and Solitude are playable. Taki's not crazy, but I probably won't end up playing it. I don't want Wall. I'll keep Teague. I don't really like Bone Shredder here. I just don't think Bone Shredder is good enough for this deck. Just full stop right there. I don't know how good these Echo cards really are. Karmic Guide might be good enough to keep here. I'd just make a swap of a Solitude for this. Get that other Plague Engineer in here. Get that Deed in here. Now it's just kind of a question of, like, how much of this stuff do I want? I think I'm going to go down a Birthing Pod because of the Karns. Maybe 2 Birthing Pods because of the Karns. Play a couple of Swords to Plowshares. This is reasonable. I don't think I like this hand. Whereas this is pretty good if I don't get Blood Mooned on turn 1. I think a Veteran Explorer goes back here. Okay. Dallas? Dallas. That's fine. I can play around that. So I'll just go Bayou Pass here. And I can either Voice or Green Sun on 2. Damn it. Yep. I mean, the whole reason I kept this was because I wasn't just dead to a turn 2 Magus because I had Ignoble Hierarch to give me mana. Alright, we're dead this game. We're not dead this game. Okay. So I evoke this. I think I junk the Siege Rhino, but it's close. So I get rid of Magus of the Moon. Turn on my mana sources again. Go green-white for a Voice of Resurgence that I intend on trading with Rabblemaster given the opportunity to. Yeah. Okay. I don't get to trade with Rabblemaster this turn. I think normally, like, the whole Chalice thing isn't particularly good against me. Why are we not attacking with the Rabblemaster? Okay. I don't know what exactly you're playing around there. Okay. So this turn kind of plays itself, right? So I cast a Green Sun. It's a Gaddock Teague. I Solitude, pitch Voice of Resurgence. Remove a Goblin Rabblemaster. And then kill Chandra. Now, my opponent does not get to Fiery Confluence, Karn, or Chandra to get them out of this situation. Okay. I can technically attack right now. I don't think I'm going to worry about it. Let's name Goblin here. And I'll crash in for 2. So the cool thing about this Ensnaring Bridge here is that it's not going to be nearly as good as it looks because my opponent can't play all of the cards out from their hand due to Gaddock Teague stopping them. So I am eventually going to just get through this. Chalice still stops. Ignoble Hierarch. But now I have a basic for if my opponent moons. Sure. Okay, now I have 2 basics for if my opponent moons. Okay. So what are my outs to cards? Knight of Autumn's really good. I guess I get green and white here. Pick up white. Pick up green. And then that can resolve. I can't cast that one easily. Sure. So I probably just don't play this card here, because blinking my stuff currently doesn't really do anything. It's much more valuable for me to like get an ETB trigger and then recycle it. You can't cast that. That's the beauty of my current board state. That eventually my X2s just get to attack. I think I'm just gonna play this one patiently. I've got a line where I like blink my Plague Engineer this turn, and then like set it to Ape or Spirit. Sure, I can imprint a red card. Okay, they're just choosing not to. All right, I think it's much more valuable to be able to imprint a Chandra with that. Green Sun is fine if Teague leaves play, but this is an immediate blink. We'll wait. Sure. Okay. Land go. Also land go. Exciting magic. More land go. Knight of Autumn. Probably go after the bridges. Blood Moon's not doing a ton here. So let's just do this. There's also a world where I go after the Chalice. Open up Ignoble Hierarch. I open up Ignoble Hierarch. I get exalted attacks that are better than what I otherwise can currently do here. I think I'll just go after the bridges, though. It becomes awkward if my opponent like top decks a 3rd bridge. Yeah, that's fine. Oh, nice. I got another color. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Eldar Guardian. Blink this. Yes. Destroy Ensnaring Bridge. Now I can start attacking with this 5/5. Yep. Good stuff. Okay. Opponent has flooded out pretty badly. Well, it's probably a combination of flooding out plus some stuff getting trapped in their hand, honestly. I think I just attack with these. I think this Plague Engineer on Goblin is valuable enough to just keep around here. And we'll call it a turn. Okay. That's rough. Oh, this is insane. Yeah, this probably means that I can attack with everything except Gaddock Teague. Play Meren. Yeah. GG's. What are we up to now? We're 2-1. Hey, if you made it this far in the video, it's pretty obvious that you're enjoying my content. Consider doing something to help me, whether it's something as small as leaving a like or subscribing to my channel, or doing something cool like doing a donation deck list, or even cooler, a dealer's choice donation deck list. Just saying, I get to do shenanigans every time that happens. Okay, back to the show. I've got kind of an awkward hand here, in that it's going to be a keep, but this Verdant Catacombs probably needs to fetch Savannah if I want to be able to Skyclave on 3 while also having access to green mana. And okay. Is this an unfair Chrome Mox or a fair Chrome Mox? I'll be able to tell based on what's imprinted under it. Unfair Chrome Mox. Okay. I am in a really bad situation against this deck. Just have very few ways of reasonably interacting against my opponent. So I guess I Savannah, Green Sun, Dryad Arbor on turn 1, and then try to play a turn 2 Skyclave Apparition if my opponent doesn't take either one of those cards. But I'm going to lose one of Green Sun or Skyclave here, I think. Actually, Plague Engineer also has some text, right? They just name whatever creature type Narcomoeba is. Yeah, sure. Alright, so Verdant for Savannah. Green Sun or Dryad Arbor. And pray that I get a turn 2. Holy shit, I get a turn 2. Cool. Okay, Narcomoeba is an illusion. I do think I want to thin my deck of actual lands here. Alright. Name illusion. I am unsure to what extent my opponent has answers to that. Okay. Oh, are they a bridge from below build? They have a bridge from below. Oh, shit, they do have bridge from below. Boo! Okay. So that means every time one of these Narcomoebas just goes to the graveyard as a state-based effect, they just get a zombie. That's disappointing. They live E. Yeah, so now my opponent can just, like, therapy me for free. I don't care. Like, I'm trying to find their Thassa's Oracle. Oh, it's in hand, so I guess they have to target themselves. Yeah, okay, they had to target themselves with that. That's a shame. Where is their Dread Return? Oh, there it is. Okay. Alright, so that means I lose this one. I mean, this is the sort of combo deck that I was worried about playing, right? Alright. Endurance matters. Thoughtseize matters. Canonist matters. Some of this other stuff like Kataki, Engineer, Deed, like some of that stuff matters. I'm going to start by removing things I know I don't want. Old Blossoms isn't important. Gaddock Teague stops Dread Return. That's important. Bone Shredder is unnecessary. I will probably cut some number of Birthing Pods. They're slow. I will cut Shriekmaw. So the stuff that I really want to pod into are like the Hate Bears. Those exist at CMC 2 and 3. I can consider just doing something like this. Actually, maybe I just leave that Grape Titan as something to hardcast and just finish the game. So that would give me 6. Speed can kind of sit there and maybe disrupt sometimes. Yeah. Do I play another Plague Engineer? Another Plague Engineer might be better than Karmic Guide, and I can probably cut a 4-drop to just play something that I can attack with earlier in the game. Dunk Felidor Guardian, maybe. Yeah, sure. I'm gonna Cabal Therapy my opponent. It's mostly a question of, like, do I try to protect this Endurance by naming, like, a Pact or a Thoughtseize or something, or do I just go for one of their win conditions? Go for Blue-Strut Spy. Nice. So hitting that means that their hand Stone Cold does literally nothing right now. Okay, sure. Yep. I expect my opponent will just play those out to just like have them in play and not be vulnerable to a flashback here. Sure. I think I want to thin my deck of lands, so I think I will go ahead and just fetch anyway. So I'll just fetch something that's a white source, like a Savannah, and then play a voice. How do I feel about sacrificing it to get rid of an Elvish Spirit Guide? I think I'm okay with it. Sacrifice this. And get rid of that Spirit Guide. Oh, apparently should have named Summoner's Pact. But I think I'm good with that. The kind of awkward thing here is that I can't really... Oh, wow. Going for a Spirit Guide. Are they just straight up hardcasting a Spirit Guide, or did they find it? Okay, they found Balustrade Spy. Sure. Alright. So at this point, I guess I'll just go ahead and do this, right? I can try to wait for the Thassa's Oracle trigger, but like they have like Cabal Therapies and Bridge from Belows that they can do. So let's send it all back. And then my opponent just dies to their Pact, right? I don't even need to think about it here, since they cast that. Yep. Savannah Pass. Womp, 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 womp. Bow. Okay, let's get lucky and do that again, I guess. On the draw, do I want to be able to have Solitudes that I can pitch cast? I have so few white cards that that's actually incredibly difficult to do. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna mess around with that. But honestly, I think the answer is just like I have to get lucky to win this matchup. This will be a mulligan. Like I have an endurance, but I have 0 land drops. That's not acceptable. With 1 land, this hand would have been absolutely insane. Mulligan. This hand just dies. I have to mulligan this. This is 5. On 5, I guess I keep this, but I'm not happy about it. Riot Arbor goes back. And Knight of Autumn goes back. I try to use Cabal Therapy to punch a hole that lets me get to a green sun for X equals 2. Which is pretty potent. Alright. Bayou Cabal Therapy, get lucky. Balustrade Spy. Balustrade Spy! Oh, baby. Running hot. I'm a little surprised my opponent kept that hand with no black mana, like, on 7. Alright. The opponent needs to have drawn black mana last turn, and then needs to draw one of their, enablers this turn. Oh, still think the green sun is just fine. Cast green sun for 2. Pick up Gaddock Teague. So now, whatchamacallit is off the table. Dread Return is off the table. Sure. Yeah, you can Cabal Therapy me. I assume this name's Endurance. It is indeed Endurance. Okay, that's their turn. Nice. Plenty happy with this. I'll crash in for 2 with a Gaddock Teague. I'm just going to do some fetching to thin here. Oh, actually, this can just turn into a Dryad Arbor for an extra point of power. Play a Veteran Explorer. Ball Therapy target you. Yes. I have black, black, I have white, white, I have green, green, so it doesn't really matter what I pick up here. So I'm going to pick up extra forests in case I end up with Scavenging Ooze. And I think I'm just going to name Elvish Spirit Guide here. At the end of the day, it is a 2/2. Nice. Double hit. Now I am ready to cast basically anything that I draw. Yep, that's the concession point. Okay, we have put up a positive record with Birthing Pod already. Our only loss so far is to Death and Taxes, which felt like a horrendous matchup. Awkward. This one has to go back just with double swamp there. That's no good. Oh, this is not a good opening hand. I think I keep it. There is an absolutely huge degree of risk associated with this hand. But I can hopefully pull off some sort of like Veteran Explorer Cabal Therapy shenanigans and make it work. I'm gonna play the Dryad Arbor on 1. Cabal Therapy is better on 1 if I like am lucky and top deck into an untapped green source. But before I have too much information about what my opponent is doing, I think I want to try to get my Veteran Explorer. Okay, so now the question is like, is this burn? Or is this just like a Delver deck that has played a mountain on turn 1? I think I'm gonna name an Eidolon here. Fuck. Yeah. None of those were cards that I would have named, just for the record. Yeah. Alright, so I know my opponent has Daze. I probably don't want to play my green sun this turn into that. I'm going to grab Forest. Just play a Hierarch here. Do I Cabal Therapy and just trade for Murktide Regent? My opponent draws a fetch land. They go fetch land, have double fetch land is 3 cards in graveyard. Then they can Tormod's Crypt, crack it, and then produce a Murktide Regent. It'll be small though. No, I don't think I do. Okay. Yeah, so the awkward thing here that my opponent can like decide to Cabal Therapy in response to a green sun for X equals 1 if that's something I want to do. Yeah. Sure. Oh, Grist is insane. Absolutely insane. Okay. I think I should have played my planes there, by the way. Okay. All plus, I'll get my insect. Good, I don't want to draw a wall of blossoms. I'll hit in for 1, and now I'm not immediately just scared of a Murktide Regent. Okay, nice. So on my next turn, I can just, like, destroy this Urza's Saga by green sunning for a Knight of Autumn. Okay, sure. Ooh, another Urza's Saga. Oh, shit. Stuff just got kind of complicated. Oh, fuck. Painter. Best deck in Legacy. I mean, not really, but, like, surprisingly close. So I probably need to play around days so I can do a green sun for X equals 3 and do something that enters the painter. Alright. X is 3. Son of a bitch. Force pitching days. So then I'm dead. My opponent gets a grindstone off of this Urza Saga and has enough to activate it. I will concede here. Alright, blue-red painter. Oof seems good, deed seems good. I will probably play my additional removal as well as my Kataki. Probably not play Wall of Blossoms. I probably don't need Teague. I'm gonna board out Bone Shredder because I've boarded it out every round. I'm probably going to keep Shriekmaw. Only 3 obvious cuts. I also just have, like, this fucking Murktide Regent to worry about. In addition to, like, Painters and Urza Sagas. Honest deck is sweet. I don't think I get to play more than 1 Endurance. I just have too many other things I have to worry about. I don't think I need a Questing Beast. So far this gets me Oof, Ataki, Solitude, and a Swords. I still think I do want all 3 of these cards. I cut a Birthing Pod. I cut 1 each of Therapy and Explorer and get these in. Actually, let's do it like this. The therapies are fine, but I can trade Veteran Explorer in combat most of the time. Yeah. Grist is really good. Alright. Let's play the guessing game. Wall Therapy. Hit a Murktide. God, Ragavan too. Alright. So, I have perfect info. Oh my god, what an aggressive fire off. Wow. There's 2 of those in my deck right now. If anything, don't you wait until my draw step to let me draw another?
Admittedly, this lets them know that, like, playing out the Ragavan is awkward. So, like, I guess there's that, but
IDK. Okay. So are you gonna just play the Ragavan anyway? Surgical's gone as well. Oh, they drew a Ponder for turn, so they don't really have to think too hard about it. Sure. And that's a shuffle. Green Sun for 1. I don't think does more than holding up a Swords to Plowshares. A Green Sun for X equals 3, for example, can blow up an Urza Saga. Sure. So I'm going to have days to think about in terms of my next turn cycle. Oh, sure. So my opponent knows about my Grist, so they can just name that. Yeah. Opponent has done a good job of navigating this game. You can do that with perfect information, but I'm still not sure if it was correct to just actually use that surgical in the way that they did. Okay. So do I have to keep holding this Green Sun? For X equals 2, I can grab like an Ooze. Isn't really great right now. I can grab an Oof. It would just immediately die to Lightning Bolt. Yeah, I think I have to just keep holding this. Kind of fetch now. Just take 1 thing off my mental plate here. Pick up a Savannah and just continue to hold up. Swords to Plowshares for Ragavan or Painter. I think my opponent just gets another Time Walk, though. If they just, like, make a land drop and then get an Urza Saga Construct token. Or not. Sure. Okay. Days would really fucking suck here. But the upside of this play is so incredibly high right now. Don't do it. Don't do it. Okay. Still don't do it, though. Like, I want to blow up this Urza Saga. and then just, like, super punish my opponent for not playing cards into removal. Nice. So, Knight of Autumn, destroy target Urza Saga. I think that's better than Pithing Needle. Okay, sure. You can play... Oh, nope. Absolute refusal to play that Ragavan into anything relevant here. I'll go ahead and take my attack for 2. Opponent goes to 15. I'll then play Plague Engineer and put it on Thopter. This forces the Lightning Bolt out of my opponent's hand. Okay, they're just gonna draw a card instead. Sure. Sure. I think I'm gonna take a draw before Swords to Plowsharing that. Alright, junk that. I want to see if I can get 4 damage in. There's some lines where I'm supposed to play the Noble Hierarch and then attack with Knight of Autumn instead. But my opponent has, like, just failed to do anything that I thought they were going to do the entire game. So, there's that. I am also going to just put this Grist into play, so that if I top deck an answer to this Pithing Needle, I can just immediately activate it. I don't understand what the fuck you're doing with your life. Like, how are we not just answering the Plague Engineer here? And, like, trying to go wide with Thopters over time. Sure, like, you can answer Ragavan there. Or, like, you can get a hit in with a Ragavan. I don't understand. Yeah. Alright, so now I have that Ragavan answered for the future. So I'll just continue to put pressure on my opponent. They'll go to 9. And if they go for some sort of, like, Painter combo, I still just have a Source of Plowshares to disrupt that. Okay, you've got a Painter. You've got a Ragavan. I have, like, exactly 1 draw that punishes me for not just playing a Source of Plowshares immediately. So I'm just going to take my draw. I am much more afraid of the Painter's Servant right now. Kappa. That's annoying. I still think it's correct to wait, because I have some things that destroy artifacts and some things... Like, there's worlds where I get to remove both Painter's Servant and Ragavan. Okay. Absolutely. Absolutely trade. Yep. I mean... Yeah. This thing Death Touch is, so I will go ahead and just attack in. Brings my opponent to 7. And I'll play a Siege Rhino. And just eat a blast. Okay, Force of Will pitching Wasteland, because Painter's Servant is crazy. A 3rd Ragavan. Sure. I think you're missing a point of damage there. Because you're not blocking with that against the Plague Engineer, like you've already established that you don't want to do that. Yeah, I think I just continue to attack here. Wow. I have just 0 ability to understand my opponent's lines. Absolutely 0. Okay. Okay, you've got a Wasteland. Does not really matter to me. Sure. Okay. Do I attack? If so, with how many creatures? I just have no ability to read what my opponent is doing. Just absolute 0. So I have no idea whether or not they're going to block. I don't want to give them time to draw out because they have powerful cards, but so do I. I don't want Ragavan to connect and then they just, like, make a blue mana for a Murktide Regent. I think I'm just going to pass the turn here. Okay. Alright, so we're going to stare at each other for a little while. This means they don't have Murktide Regent because they could just cast it. Fuck. Alright. So this has just turned into, like, who draws a crazy Haymaker first. I will fetch and just thin something out of my deck. Murktide can't come down this turn after a Ponder without multiple cards being involved. That was a shuffle with that Ponder, too. Ooh. This could very potentially just Brainstorm lock my opponent and put them into a very bad spot. Yeah, okay. So they are Brainstorm locked now. I will go ahead and fetch here. Dryad Arbor? Dryad Arbor. Shriekmaw. I'll cast that. Force pitching a Ponder. Okay. You're supposed to Ponder. Never mind. At this point, I think I'm going to change strategy and make some attacks here. No, I'm not. Just going to attack with the Dryad Arbor. Sure. I got my opponent to use that resource. I'm good with that. I just really don't want this Ragavan connecting if my opponent finds a Lightning Bolt. I hate giving my opponent time, but I theoretically have a bunch of big dumb bullshit in my deck that I can draw. Grab a land. Come on. Okay. Sure. Alright. I have a real sense of immediacy and danger now. I need to answer that card. How is it possible that I draw this badly? Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I have seen 13 of my lands thus far. I will absolutely fetch to thin some lands out of my deck here. Yep. Thank you. What do I use this on? I probably have to use it on an Urza Saga token. Yep. At this point, I'm just going to hold the Solitude. I might end up giving my opponent an extra 1 or 2 life, but this is not a game that is going to just end immediately. I would rather get the mana value out of also stopping a Shadow Spear equip. Nope, never mind. Where I thought we were going to end up going here. There's 5. Gave my opponent 2 extra life here to just play around like dying to a painter immediately. Okay. Here we go. I'm good with this. I'm going to lose my shit if my opponent's last card is a Force of Negation. Okay, cool. Let's activate this. This is actually an insanely tricky turn. I think I'm going to junk the Veteran Explorer here. This lets me take the last 2 lands out of my deck, which has value. And then Birthing Pod is an artifact. I don't think I'm going to get Collector Oof right now. I think I'm going to grab Voice of Resurgence with the plan of potentially sacrificing that next turn. It's a little weird. My opponent does take the Construct token attack this turn. Okay, they don't. Good. Oh my god. Cool. We're going places. Sacrifice a Voice of Resurgence. You're just gonna try to mill me? That did hit the Grave Titan. That's a little annoying. Okay, so their plan has become mill. That's fair. Alright, so they'll activate again. Sure. Endurance myself in this strange situation? Yes. I think I will. Endurance me. Just get like a fucking Grave Titan here. And just get Meren. Actually, do this. Grab Felidar Guardian. Link Solitude. Yes. Exile the Construct. Crash in for 2. I don't care if I lose Plague Engineer for Ragavan here. Yeah, that's fine. I don't care about these Thopters. So my plan is Pod, token into 1-drop, into Collector Oof, and then I can't die to the combo. Okay. Oh, nice. Sure. Play Knight. Destroy Pithing Needle. One has 5 mana. Oh, actually, shit, I missed a damage. I'm changing the way that I'm going to play this turn. Yeah, it's fine. Okay, I didn't miss a damage. I'll go to 13. I'll plus and make my token this way. This is awkward if exactly Collector Oof gets milled, otherwise it's fine. Sacrifice 1-drop. I guess an Ignoble Hierarch is worse here. Sacrifice this. My opponent will mill me in response. Oh, and is it Staticaster? Sure. I am confident enough that my board wins that I will just grab the Collector Oof here. Sure. Yeah, like I have Grist for a Murktide that comes down. What a slog. Cast a Voice. Sacrifice a Voice. Blow up, is it Staticaster? Okay. Sure. Crash in for 7. What a slog. And I more or less should have lethal no matter what next turn. And this is a great start to the turn. Play Voice. Plus this. Crash in. I did not deserve to win this game. Like, opponent. Oh, fuck. Okay. I might time out. Yeah, I had no business winning that game. These games are going to go so epically long that Cabal Therapy is not good. I want another Plague Engineer in here now that I know more of my opponent's deck. I honestly think I want to choke in here. I think I'll call that good. I'm going to have to F6 really aggressively here. I'm going to pitch this hand. It's okay versus a starting Ragavan, but trips over its mana too much of the time. Whereas I'll keep this one. Just throw back one land. Yep. Nice. Land go. Yep. Pretty good. Not going to spend too long thinking about anything here, because this game is likely... Because this game is likely to go pretty long. My opponent paused at the end step for a minute there. I thought they were going to just, like, cast a Brainstorm into my Voice of Resurgence and make me into a happy boy. Sure. Alright, I'll attempt my damage with Voice of Resurgence. I'm going to fetch and take a dual land out of my deck here. I am just going to play this here. Like, this is something that I would really prefer to save for the end game, but I don't know that I really get that luxury here with an Urza Saga coming off so soon. Alright, so you make your construct. It's pretty good. Shriekmaw does not blow up constructs, by the way. It is non-artifact, non-black creature. It's still important for, like, Ragavans, though. Okay, that's fine. That is not fine. That is also not fine. Alright. A lot of shit I have to deal with. Why are we not attacking with the construct? Yeah. So, land, Veteran Explorer. I get the Prismatic Ending one of these things. I think it's the Retrofitter Foundry. I can just die to the Painter combo, though, is the problem. The constructs are also going to get very large, but answering one construct does not really change the fact that those things are going to be large. I think I'm better off, like, getting a chump block off via Veteran Explorer and hoping to draw into something big. I can't have my opponent have the larger thing. Okay. I'm casting a Green Sun. Meren is really tempting here, but I think I'm going to play around Days. Just do it for 3. And nice. Then I will Knight of Autumn, where I target Urza Saga. I will take my Elemental, absolutely. Okay, you've got your fetch. And you'll lose your treasure token to produce another. I don't understand. Like, are you just Painter killing me this turn? Okay. So be it. Oh my god. You're gonna play out the Painter when you can't. Oh my god. I can't really play around a Blast here. I'm gonna attack with this. Alright, opponent goes to 12. Blast still beats me on my opponent's turn. I'll go for it here. Plays into Force of Negation, but does not allow my... Yeah. Both of those are artifact creatures. F. That's a disappointing loss. Don't think my opponent played very well. Sure. Have your monkey. Alright, so we end up with a 3-2 in this league. Overall thoughts on the deck list? Not bad. Like, obviously a little bit clunky. And there's some non-bows in the deck, like the Collector Oof Birthing Pod situation that we ran into. But we had a pretty good ability to grind as the games went on. I think some of the stuff that's in the deck just, like, shouldn't be in the deck. Like, I think Wall of Blossoms is just going to be worse than just grabbing a Voice of Resurgence most of the time. I don't think Bone Shredder cuts it. I think I cut the Karmic Guide in most of the rounds, although, like, I can understand why that one's in there. I think you can do some fidgeting with the specifics of, like, some of these flex slot creatures in the main deck and end up in a pretty good situation. Sideboard felt reasonable, although I don't know that, like, Pernicious Deed actually belongs in the deck. Like, I have so many things that are just gonna, like, sit on the battlefield that I end up sweeping with this. So, like, I get that this can be just an absolutely damning sideboard card against certain decks. Not sure if it's actually worth playing. Yeah, but this was a fun league. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, click the like button on your way out. It's the easiest way to support me for free. And if you end up wanting to get one of your own decks on video on my channel, or you end up wanting to try this out, the information for both of those is available in the video description. Have a great rest of the day. If you're really enjoying, consider becoming a YouTube member. See ya!